Good evening, hello and welcome to this special broadcast. I'm Anusha Soni. The upcoming polls for the post of the president in the Congress party would certainly be historical, and historical for many reasons. The longest serving Congress president, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, who is also presently the working president for the party, is all set to be replaced with the elections for the post just around the corner. Now, while officially the nomination filing process is yet to begin, the likes of Ashok Gehlot and Mr. Shashi Tharoor are likely to contest these elections. Mr. Gehlot has made a last-ditch attempt to convince Rahul Gandhi, but he has denied yet again. Now, these elections, as I said, are decisive for the future of the Congress party, as the grand old party faces exodus and decimation in many states across the country. Not just that, facing stern criticism from political opponents over nepotism and the lack of meritocracy within the party. The grand old party has a lot to deliver, at least in the public discourse. As the Congress party is all set to get a non-Gandhi president, in all likelihood after 2 decades, will the new phase have real powers? Or will the House continue to be run from 10 Janpath? Our top focus.
In the last press conference, I made my position very clear. Then that remains my position. I mean, I've explained it multiple times. Just take a look at the last press conference. You'll see exactly what I said.
कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट जो होता है बनता है वो जस्टिफाई भी कर पाता है अगर वो पूरे मुल्क में उसको काम करना है तो 2 पोस्ट पे काम हो नहीं सकता है तो इसमें कोई बाहर नहीं है जो कि अभी मीडिया में आ रहा है उसके अंदर ये इलेक्टेड पोस्ट है कोई भी खड़ा हो सकता है इसके अंदर
Well, let's tell you the story more in detail. What has transpired within the Congress party so far? There's been so much of drama, the G23 members, the criticism coming in from within, the young and the old ditching the party. But in the run-up to elections, what has happened so far? Just a brief timeline of events that we saw. On the 28th of August, the CWC approves October 17th as the Congress president poll date. The official nomination process is yet to begin. 30th of August, you had the G23 leaders, the infamous G23, which has criticized the Congress party on multiple occasions. They raised concern over the transparency of the polls. 11 states so far and counting have passed resolutions to make Rahul Gandhi as the Congress president. This once again takes us to the question that how valid, legitimate this entire process is going to be. Mr. Tharoor has also met Sonia Gandhi, expressed intent to contest the poll, and Mr. Tharoor, of course, is one of the loyalists and yet critics of the Congress party at the same time. Mr. Ashok Gehlot, the long-time Congress loyalist close to the Gandhi family, he will contest if the High Command asks him to do so. This is an opportunity of sorts for the Congress party. Gehlot has also made it clear that he wants to continue as the Chief Minister, but Rahul Gandhi said, we hope that one post, one man. That rule continues to go on in the party. Rahul Gandhi has hinted that he won't contest the presidential polls. He's put that foot down. He said, that's my position. I'm not changing. In fact, no other Gandhi is going to contest election, which also includes Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. And Ashok Gehlot has also said that whatever the party line is going to be, he's going to accept that. But would it be that easy for him to quit the position of the Rajasthan Chief Minister, a position that he's fought for with the likes of Sachin Pilot? Let's take you through some political questions that come to the fore for the Congress party. What are they fighting for? What is at stake for them? Will Gandhis actually give up the control of the party? Even if you have a non-Gandhi president, will that person have real power? Will the shift of power from 10 Janpath to the position of the president really happen within the Congress party? Will the non-Gandhi, a person, a face like that, be able to reach out to all the factions, different factions of the Congress workers, dynasties, and that problem has existed in the Congress party always. Can a new leadership hold the crumbling Congress? Goa is an example, a case in point where you saw what exactly happened. And as I said earlier, it's a question for Ashok Gehlot and his political future as well. Will he give up that chair of the Chief Minister? Is that something that he's willing to do to take up this role? Rahul Gandhi has said that he wants that rule of one person, one post to be followed. And will Gehlot be remote controlled by the Gandhis? That's the fear. That is it just a position that will exist on paper and the power will lie somewhere else? Or a real shift of power will happen within the Congress party? And has Bharat Jodo in some way undermined the stature of the new leadership? Because in the run-up to the elections within the party, you have Rahul Gandhi hitting the streets. Yes, he's raising issues of inflation, but once again, the entire focus has shifted back to to Rahul Gandhi. And say a tall leader like Ashok Gehlot, does it really cut into their stature in some way? Those are the key questions that we ask. I want to cut across to our senior political editor, Pallavi Ghosh. She's tracked the Congress party and she'll tell us what lies ahead for the Congress. Pallavi, help us understand what kind of challenge and opportunity it is for the Congress party. You pointed out that roughly after 2 decades, you'll have a non-Gandhi face. What is it we can expect?
And I'm sure it's not been easy for the Gandhis to give up the grip for a party which they have ruled with iron hand. But there are many risks involved. I mean, just to step back in history, Anusha, the last time round there was a non-Gandhi who was at the helm of affairs. It was Sitaram Kesri. And the only reason a reluctant Sonia Gandhi at that point of time took charge, because I remember she said it very famously that I couldn't see a party which was built up by my family slip away from our hands. Now, this is also could be one apprehension and worry among those who are in the Gandhi family, that will the party slip away? But I think for now they've made up their mind, particularly since Rahul Gandhi has made up his mind that no one from the Gandhi family, and he certainly won't be contesting the elections. It's a fact, Anusha, that he's never been happy with the state of affairs. He wanted to bring about those big ticket changes which never really happened. And I think in a sense behind his decision is also his desire to teach a lesson to many within the Congress party that run the party the way you want to. I'll be just like any other party worker, and you know, you call the shots. But the question which you also raised a short while back, will he actually be like any other party worker? Because, you know, we know the Bharat Jodo Yatra, for example, it's completely focused about Rahul Gandhi.
Exactly.
The kind of media updates we get daily, the kind of focus we see on the Yatra is not about others. It's always about Rahul Gandhi. So for the Gandhis to give up control completely, that's one. Second, very quickly, what is it going to stop the other party colleagues, for example, who may be unhappy with the new party president to go up to, say, a 10 Janpad or a 12 Tughlaq lane? And in the name of, say, the party is in a mess, we need to bring you back. What can stop tomorrow the Gandhis from actually taking charge of the party once again?
Pallavi, and that's the point I want you to talk a little bit more upon. It's one thing to occupy a chair. It's another thing to have actual power to run the affairs of the party. This has been a stark reality, and in fact a conundrum of sort, that while you criticize the Gandhis for holding on to party for so long and not allowing a non-Gandhi face to really run the reins of the party, the fear is that if it's a non-Gandhi face, there would be no consensus, no cohesion within the party, and it will further crumble.
I agree with you totally, Anusha, because I've covered this party for years. And, you know, for whatever criticism you give them, the glue actually happens from the Gandhi family. They're the glue which keeps them together. That need not necessarily be seen as a compliment. But the fact is, I'm drawing again my conclusion from what I saw during the running of UPA 1 and UPA 2. Sonia Gandhi refused to become the Prime Minister in 2004. Dr. Manmohan Singh was chosen as the Prime Minister. You know, and she, to be fair to her and also to Rahul Gandhi, tried to give every possible respect to Dr. Manmohan Singh as the PM. But that's not how it worked out within the cabinet. I mean, I remember we were privy to the information that many within the cabinet meetings would oppose him. Some, like Pranab Mukherjee, were never completely accepting the fact that one of their contemporaries or their colleagues had actually become their boss. Will that what happen in case a non-Gandhi becomes the party president? I mean, for argument's sake, if it's Ashok Gehlot, will others like Chidambaram or Jairam Ramesh be ready to take orders from him? I think that's where the challenge will really begin for the Congress party.
All right, Pallavi, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and getting us all that perspective. We look forward to those elections, what exactly happens. And I'm opening this question to our guest as well. Is this a real change that will come within the Congress party, or perhaps the remote control will lie somewhere else? It's an opportunity and a challenge for the grand old party at the same time. R.P. Singh, who's the spokesperson of the BJP, Swati Malik, who's the spokesperson of the Congress party, Kailash Adhikari, who's the managing director of governance now, also a political analyst, and Radhika Ramaseshan, who's a columnist, is also joining us on the broadcast. Swati, let me first come to you. It's an opportunity for the Congress party, no denying of that. Great that you're having elections, great that there are signs of internal democracy. But when somebody like an Ashok Gehlot, somebody who's the Chief Minister of a state, somebody who has a tall political stature, goes to convince Rahul Gandhi that please take the chair, what does it really tell us about the future? In the sense, will he really have real powers, or would it be the Gandhis running the affairs of the Congress party? Swati.
Anusha, Mr. Ashok Gehlot going to Mr. Rahul Gandhi and saying, please take the chair, is only him expressing his views, his opinion, real desire that Mr. Gandhi should lead him. It is up to Mr. Gandhi whether he wants to, he chooses to file his nomination or not, which is denied till now. And we'll wait till the 30th and see who are the others in the list. But to say that whoever wins or whoever contests or wins this election doesn't matter because the power is going to be with the Gandhis. Well, this is the election is for the president of the party. It's like Mr. Nadda and Mr. Modi. It's not the same role. It is not the same role as a administrator, as a head of the organization. Is what the election is for, and not for the not the face of 2020. Let's put it as bluntly as that. So the power, and as far as you said that whether the Gandhis only control, well, the Gandhis are the most popular leaders of the party. The Gandhis are the ones who everybody, even now, you said 11 states have passed a resolution asking Mr. Rahul Gandhi to become the president.
So on that point, I want to come to you. If 11 states have already taken a call, and Rajasthan, in fact, was one of the first states to pass a resolution of this nature, what is the sanctity of the electoral process now?
Well, let the election happen, Anusha. Let's not preempt this is a democratic process which is going to happen. And I'll just give you 2 brief points to just clarify what this election is about. Anybody who has a support or signatures of 10 delegates can file for nomination. After that, their PCC members will be voting. Who are these PCC members? They're not people who are just appointed by the senior leadership. Let's put it that way. They're not appointed by them. They are appointed from booth, from where block is appointed, and block appoints the PCC members. So this is an entire democratic process. There is a list of those, of the voters, and everybody will be free to reach out. Right now, these 11 states who have even passed a resolution, we can't stop people from voicing their emotions. And the sanctity we will see, and we will all be here on the 19th when the election will be, the new president will be declared. Right, we will see the sanctity, and all those people who have a doubt about this process. Now G23, like you said, they have expressed their doubts. Now I just hope they also participate in this election. Mr. Manish Tiwari,
do you have a doubt that they will participate or they will not participate?
Reports that he is also looking to file his nomination, which is very good. So please, they should only point out faults or there have been some breach of transparency when there is one. Just in anticipation and preempting a process which is yet to take place, that's a little unfair.
No, Swati, I would only say that this entire discussion is in a constructive spirit and tone and tenor. This is the principal opposition party of the country. And what happens within the Congress party affects the politics of this nation. And that is why we're having this discussion. Mr. RP Singh, the Congress party says we are at least having some kind of democratic process to elect our president, and before it's over, don't make a value judgment on the process. Don't preempt it. It's going to be a free, fair, and a transparent process. Do you buy that argument?
Well, first, questions are not being raised by us. Questions are being raised by the Congress member only, the senior Congress members. People like Manish Tiwari and others have been asking. Mr. Anand Sharma has been asking for the list of the delegates. They are dotting the list of the delegates itself. So the question raised within the party, one. Secondly, as Palvi was saying, that Congress can't stay without a Gandhi name, and still they wanted someone who's a pawn or who's managed by remote as a president. But the glue of the Gandhis is not working now. The adhesive part is not working today for the Gandhis. So for the Congress, sorry. So whatever they do, ultimately it is going to be a remote controlled system. The 4 people of the family will decide, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and 2 Vadras will decide how the party has to be run, who is going to next state president, or who is going to next chief minister to get by chance.
But Mr. Singh, the criticism which is coming in from the Congress party is, you're right in pointing out that one of the worst criticism that has come from the Congress party has not come from the BJP or their political opponents, but it's in fact their own leaders. Say a Ghulam Nabi Azad or others who have come out in the public domain and criticize the manner in which the party is being run. But that being said, there are parallels which are being drawn. That where is the electoral process in any other political party for choosing their president? At least the Congress party is making an effort. And they're also raising questions about the BJP. That's what Swati also pointed out.
Well, let me just tell it for your viewers and for the Swati also. Our party has a regular election every 3 years, unlike them when it's happening after 22 years. Every 3 years we have election from the Smiti level to Mandal level to district level, and then to the state and then to the national level. And this happens every year every 3 years in January. And the president is elected in that process, and the delegates, there's a list of delegates which goes in public, which goes within the party, and everyone knows who can vote for the presidentship. But yes, we have people who work with unanimity, but unlike them, ultimately it's going to be Gandhi or their remote control person.
Okay.
Here, no one knew that Nadda ji would be the president when last time he was elected, and no one knows who is the next president after
Swati,
after Nadda ji,
let me just address the elephant in the room. Let me just address it directly with you, Swati. Rahul, I'm giving you the opportunity to respond, Swati. Let me just add one question. The argument here is that Rahul Gandhi, compared to Rahul Gandhi, and I'm not diminishing him in any way as a political leader, he has his own following, his own popularity within the party and outside as well. Congress continues to be one of the principal opposition parties. That being said, compared to an Ashok Gehlot, the political experience of Rahul Gandhi is much, much lower. Compared to the credentials of various other top leaders of the Congress party who have served the country in different capacities, the entire experience of Rahul Gandhi is very, very less. And perhaps that's one reason that he has humbly said that, look, I don't want to get into this, I'm not contesting. But what does it tell us about the party when a leader like Ashok Gehlot has to go and convince Rahul Gandhi one last time? The allegation here is that there is a certain degree of sycophancy which runs within the party. Address that criticism, Swati, head on.
Anusha, I'll just start with what Mr. R.P. Singh was saying right now. He said, there is an election every year within BJP, but none of us know who was the one contesting against Mr. Nadda. Nobody knows who was the one contesting against Mr. Amit Shah before that. We don't know the other candidates contesting against Rajnath Singh before. So there is no election in BJP. But even if they state so, please tell me, where is the comparison between Congress elections, which are happening so openly? We all know who are the people contesting, and it's a very open process, a public process rather. We are all here sitting and discussing the members, right? The contestants who will file the nominee, likely to file the nominations rather. But unlike BJP, which is done in a closed room, we don't know who are those people who are voting and who are the who are even the who are the contestants for that matter. Now, coming to your second point, which you asked me, you're coming to your question, which you asked me, whether Mr. Gehlot asking Mr. Gandhi if it's, whether the experience can be compared, etc. So that is for Mr. Gehlot. Now, Mr. Gehlot has taken on him to contest these elections. He will hopefully, or most likely, will be filing the nominations as well. But again, if he wants to go and choose and ask Mr. Rahul Gandhi in whatever, even if he's less experienced than him, I understand when you say that Mr. Gehlot has 40 years of, active
political experience,
and he's the one who's risen ranks, etc. So I completely agree there. But it is Mr. Gehlot's wish and desire. And
my question was exactly that why does he have to show that gesture? I want to also bring in Kailash Adhikari and Radhika Ramaseshan into the discussion. Kailash Adhikari,
can make a small point.
I'll come to you, R.P. Singh. I'll come to you. Kailash, what kind of opportunity is this for the Congress party? And with the elections in less than about 2 weeks or 3 weeks from here on, what is it which is at stake for the Congress party? All set to get a non-Gandhi face? Will that be feasible? Is that good for the party?
To answer your question of what is it at stake, it is the entire political future of India's grand old party. So to begin with that, having said that, more than 10 states having passed a resolution before even the elections happening, and Mr. Gandhi saying that he wants to contest or not, they having passing a resolution of the fact that let Shri Rahul Gandhi ji be the next Congress president is like a monarchy under the garb of democracy. And how does power flow in a monarchy? We just saw in a particular country
it's interesting
weeks ago.
Using that word. Yeah.
Yes. So it's monarchy under the garb of democracy. Now, if the Congress party for the first time is feeling the change where other leaders want to come forward and they really want to contest and make it a fair and democratic election, then I think it's high time to do that. They must have done it. They should have done it a little prior, because in 2019, when Shri Rahul Gandhi, resigned from the post of the Congress president after the debacle in the Lok Sabha election, it's not about Lok Sabha elections also. You see the trajectory of 8 years and see the kind of debacle that they have faced in other states. Now, Congress, the principal opposition party of this country, is ruling in 2 states, and that is equivalent to the number of states where even the party which is in power in Delhi also rules. So you can see in 8 years what the party has been reduced to. And I mean, it's high time rather of introspection within the Congress party. And let's not just have an election as a farce. If you want to have an election, then there should be people.
Radhika ji, do you agree with what Kailash Adhikari is saying, that it's a monarchy, it's a farce of an election? Is that a fair criticism or perhaps exaggeration? Radhika ji.
Was this a question to me?
Yes, ma'am. That's a question for you. Radhika ji, if you can hear me, we have Kailash Adhikari here who's making an argument that the entire elections or the electoral process which is happening within the Congress party is not really a fair process. And at the end, it will be the Gandhi family which will continue to control the party. Do you agree with that assessment? Radhika ji.
Now, there are 2-3 aspects, and let's look at it objectively. As a step towards reforming the party organization from within, I think it's a welcome step. And to be fair to the Gandhis, they're trying to make it as open and transparent as possible. But having covered several organizational elections in the Congress in the past, I mean, the exercises end up being utter farcical events, the delegates. Who are the delegates? There is a well-entrenched patron-client relationship within the Congress, and the delegates are usually clients who depend on their patrons for everything, including being enlisted as delegates. So they owe their loyalty to their immediate patrons. I mean, let's not forget that these elections take place from the grassroots upward. So that lends it a kind of farcical quality to the whole election.
Radhika
so
ji, I'm sorry I'm interjecting you, but I want to understand this from you. Is the Congress party an outlier in having these kind of processes which are not exactly free and fair? Or this is largely the political culture of this country? That's how so-called elections happen within the political parties.
It's largely the political culture of this country, but then here we have to reference the Congress as the grand old party in quotes. And the grand old party really did nothing through various decades to reform the process from within. So it's not overnight Rahul or Mrs. Gandhi can take the broom and clean the whole system. No, that's not possible. It is going to be conducted in pretty much the way it was conducted in the past. We have had elections in the Congress, by the way, I mean, a couple of times. And the official nominee always had the advantage of, a winner, and that is what has happened. Well, the difference is that this time the Gandhis are trying to be as distant as they can be, but knowing the way the Congress system operates, I doubt very much whether the neutrality is for real or is it just for our consumption.
And moving forward from the point of neutrality of elections, let's presume a scenario, and it's a very likely scenario, that you have a non-Gandhi face as the president of the party, say Mr. Ashok Gehlot, who's in the fray right now. What would that do to the Congress party? Would different factions be able to come together? What stops, say, as my colleague Pallavi was pointing out some time ago, from certain disgruntled leaders to run to the Gandhi family and say, look, we're not happy with this Congress president, we're not going to abide by his or her orders?
Yeah, well, this was a template which was in, operation during 10 years of the UPA rule. We saw it, Manmohan Singh was a prime minister. And of course, Sonia Gandhi tried to give him as much latitude as possible from the beginning. But in the end, when you saw these ministers at work, if the slightest hint of a problem or a grievance or whatever, they went running to Mrs. Gandhi. And Mrs. Gandhi herself had her own system of the National Advisory Council, which was a kind of countervailing force to the government and which did dictate quite a few decisions to the government. So, if that is the template that was in operation, then I do not think that the new president, who may be a non-Gandhi, who will likely be a non-Gandhi, will get the kind of leeway he or she wants. Because as Pallavi Ghosh pointed out, you have a whole lot of, it's a top-heavy party. You have Mr. Chidambaram, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, and a host of other leaders. So whether they're going to take Mr. Gehlot's decision, whether he's allowed to take the decisions in the first place, these are in the realm of speculation.
Okay, Swati, I'm coming back to you, and we are moving forward from the kind of process you're having. Okay, let's have a scenario where, in all likelihood, you have a non-Gandhi face as the president of the party. And I was just discussing with Radhika ji as well, that what stops the template of UPA 1 and 2 being repeated yet again? This time, thank God, not for the governance of the country, but the governance of your own party, and it runs completely contrary to what the intention of the Gandhis may be or the party leadership may be, to have a new leadership, to have reforms within the party.
Anusha, and before I answer your question, let me just clarify one thing to Mr. Kailash Adhikari. While he compared the Congress with a party which is already in 2 states within the country, let me just give a little number which will clarify who is the largest party and who is the largest opposition party. Let's put it that way. The total number of MLAs pan-India that BJP has is 1443, whereas what Congress has is 753, and Aam Aadmi Party has only 156. So it's extremely unfair when when experts come and they state that Aam Aadmi Party or a party which is in 2 states is same as Congress Party. I'm sorry, it is not. Congress Party is the only opposition party which has a candidate from every constituency in this country. So you cannot compare the two. It's very unfair. Now coming to your question, whether the control will lie with the Gandhis and whether this election is only fair or whether
I did not use the word rubber stamp. And even when Radhika ji was talking, she said that even during the UPA era there was much attempt that was made that more power should rest with Dr. Manmohan Singh, but there were factions within the Congress party, within the UPA, that were not ready to accept the leadership, and that's the template that we're talking about. But despite the best of the intentions, that template once again may come into the front and may damage the entire process and may damage the entire intention of having a non-Gandhi face in the first place.
Anusha, my request would be, let's wait for these elections to happen, because these candidates who are coming in, the 2 names that we hear, 3 names rather that we hear, actually 4. There were few names doing the rounds today, right? So when we hear these names, there are people who are contesting out of their choice, out of support. I'm sure they have those 10 delegates who are going to be supporting them for them to file these nominations. So when people have this support and they're supporting each other, I'm talking about these, like you said, these are, peers who are supporting each other and contesting. And of course, when there's a non-Gandhian face, then there's going to be a wider contest in our opinion as well. Otherwise, people would just, not even hold an election to that matter, to that extent.
Okay,
but
Kailash,
here,
Kailash, you had a point to make. Please go ahead. I'll come back to you, Swati. Kailash, you had a point to make. Please
just to respond to Swati ji, what she said, I was never comparing the member of Legislative Assembly numbers that the Congress has or the AAP has. My simple point was that states versus states. AAP has 2 states, Congress has 2 states. I never said that I was never comparing the number of legislative representatives that
but that's not the substance
Congress
of the debate. That clarification is taken. Mr. R.P. Singh, I'm coming back to you. And I ask this to you as somebody, who's been in politics. Congress, of course, is an opposition party, and it matters what is happening in the polity of the country. What kind of hopes do you have from this election? In the sense, will your political opponents and worthy opponents be able to put their house in order? Mr. R.P. Singh.
Well, let me tell you what Digvijay Singh said today, and that will define what you want me to ask. He said nothing can go beyond Nehru and Gandhi, and Nehru and Gandhi will always stay supreme within Congress party. That's Digvijay Singh's statement, today's statement. And so it's clear that whoever gets elected will have to be managed and controlled by the Gandhis, as I said earlier. So it's immaterial, because as I said earlier, that people of the country has rejected 2 things. One is the monarchism or the family run parties and corruption. And Congress has to come out of both. I mean, it's heavily, deeply involved in the family run system and then also the corruption. So put together, give me another 5 seconds. Give me another second. So put together, it was the accidental Prime Minister earlier, Mr. Manmohan Singh was remote control. This time will be another president will be remote control. But all this is happening if Mr. Gandhi is shunning away from the election. His only reason is that he is scared of 2024 election. He doesn't want to take another defeat on his name, because he knows that 224 is a gone case. So why to take that blame on his name?
Going by the record and going by the kind of performance that the Congress party has put in the last 8 years, they have much to do, and Rahul Gandhi would be damned if he took and if he didn't take. I mean, this is clearly an opportunity and a challenge for the Congress party at the same time. All eyes on those crucial elections, and more importantly, once the results are out, you have a non-Gandhi phase. To what extent will the person be able to exercise real power, or, as the critics say, the control would lie with 10 Janpath? All of those answers lie in the